PR Connections Radio presents.
Welcome to Vegas Hockey Hub here on PRConnectionsRadio.com, the voice of new media. I'm your host, Ian Rachiele, and on this edition of Vegas Hockey Hub, we are getting closer and closer to a new season here on Vegas Hockey Hub. And I wanted to take this video and wanted to do something that I've been planning on doing for a while now, and that is ranking all 6 of the jerseys the Vegas Golden Knights have had in franchise history. And I'm just going to go from worst to best. So we're going to start out with number 6 and then go all the way up to number 1. And it's really interesting how the Vegas Golden Knights, 8 seasons worth of jerseys, and of course you have your original away and a home jerseys. You had the alternate jerseys, which ended up becoming your home jersey after a while, and then you had your 3 specialty jerseys, the 2 reverse retros, and then when they were in the Winter Classic, they had that jersey as well. And I just wanted to take this episode and before the new season, before a possibly new jersey could be with the Vegas Golden Knights, just wanted to take this, end of August kind of situation to have the Vegas Golden Knights, their jerseys ranked in franchise history. And it's going to be a fun video here on Vegas Hockey Hub. So let's get into it. And let's start out with the worst jersey that the Vegas Golden Knights have had in franchise history. Now, the 2024 Winter Classic, which I had the privilege of being at, and I had on our social medias at the time when we were at the Winter Classic and posted content, this was a fun game to be at. And even though they lost and it was a shutout from the Seattle Kraken, the new and the one-time only, season 2024 Winter Classic jerseys, the issue that I've had with this jersey is that it really doesn't fit the look of the Vegas Golden Knights. When you compare it to the other 5 jerseys that are going to be on this list, this one stands out as kind of just an odd exception to, when it comes to the coloring, when it comes to the design, the numbers. Like, this is a jersey that really just does not blend in well when you compare to the rest of the jerseys the Vegas Golden Knights have had. Now, when you compare it to Seattle Kraken's Winter Classic jersey, which would be right behind Michael Amadio, you can actually see it to his right. That jersey actually blends in well with what the other jerseys the Seattle Kraken have had in franchise history, mostly because it actually, with the logo and the coloring, it just fits the Seattle Kraken more as a franchise, whereas this one, it just really doesn't. Now, I would say the one positive that came from this jersey is I like the Vegas on the pants. So when it comes to the pants and you see the Vegas lettering with the nice style there, that is a nice touch, and I do think that was a clever detail there. But you have, the 2 middle fingers as the logo. And then, when it comes to just the gray lettering on the design there, it's not a good jersey. And I know some people did like it. And obviously there's some people who did buy this jersey when it was in the 2024 Winter Classic. And then later in the year, when they took on Seattle and they took on Calgary later on, they did bring these back kind of, for that season. But I would be very shocked if this ever came back as a jersey, moving forward with the Vegas Golden Knights. It's a jersey that's part of the franchise history, was part of that fun event with the Winter Classic, but I believe that's all it's going to be. So at number 6, I will have the 2024 Winter Classic jerseys for the Vegas Golden Knights as the worst jersey in the franchise history. Now, as the years go on and the Vegas Golden Knights do add more uniforms in the future, maybe this will change. We don't know. But as of right now, that is the worst jersey in franchise history, and that is the V with the two middle fingers pointing out at it, and that would be their Winter Classic jersey. Now, next on the list at number 5, we are going to go over to the outdoor game in 2021 that was at Lake Tahoe. Now, granted, because this was during the whole COVID-19 pandemic and the fact that there was little to no fans at all that were watching this game in person, also you had the ice that started to melt because it was outdoor game at Lake Tahoe. Some people may have forgotten even what the origin of what this reverse retro was. But when it came to the reverse retro 1.0, that was for the outdoor game against the Colorado Avalanche. And unlike the Winter Classic jersey, I am going to sit here and say the red jerseys with the gray and the gold when it comes to the trim and everything, it's not a bad jersey. I would say that if this was something that was brought back, maybe once per season, I would not mind it if it ended up becoming, a secondary alternate or something like that. But overall, when it comes to reverse retro and the origins behind this jersey, it is what I would say a C tier jersey. All right. This is something that is fine. I like certain parts of it. The alternate logo that is on the crest, I actually am a fan of that. In fact, I've also felt like they should have that more incorporated with the Golden Knights. And of course, I'm talking about the sword and everything that is on the crest there in the middle. And Alex Petrangelo is my reference there, as you see right here. But the reason why at number 5 is just that when you compare it to the 4 that are going to be on this list in the top 4 in Vegas Golden Knights history, this just really doesn't compare or doesn't exceed what the other 4 jerseys have. Mostly because those other 4 jerseys, they stand out on their own in certain merits. Now, for this jersey, I will give some nod, by the way, because when it comes to the socks and when it comes to the pants and everything, it actually blends very well. I like that part of it. But yeah, so this being number 5, it being the 2021 outdoor game that they had in Lake Tahoe, or as they would call it, the Reverse Retro 1.0, and the Las Vegas Thunder, the International Hockey League team, that was kind of the reference, kind of the base model that they had as the reference point. But yeah, this was not a bad jersey. Like I said, it was a C jersey, something that, the Vegas Golden Knights had as a one-off every once in a while. I would not complain about it. And the neat touch was the fact that they had the alternate logo as the middle, as the crest on the jersey. And this is just, reasonably well done. And I will say when it comes to some Vegas Golden Knights fans, I don't think that some people would be shocked if you forgot about this jersey. Because like I mentioned, this was during the whole COVID-19 pandemic. And this is no fault of the NHL. But a lot of people over the years, especially the fact that we are well over 4 or 5 years since the COVID-19 pandemic, the fact that these jerseys and the fact that a lot of reverse retros are kind of forgotten about, unless there were some notable, there were some great reverse retros that have, not been forgotten. But I would say about half of them just haven't been remembered fondly, mostly because you didn't get to see it in person. You weren't, in attendance, or if you were in attendance, you were one of the only few in terms of fanfare. So I would say this is being number 5, the outdoor game, and that would be the red jerseys for the Vegas Golden Knights at number 5. Now, heading on over to number 4, and we're going to be getting into the current home jerseys, the gold-plated jerseys for the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, these did start out as an alternate jersey when they first became part of the Vegas Golden Knights uniforms, but then around 2021, 2022, the Vegas Golden Knights decided to make it their current home jerseys, replacing the OG home jerseys. And I will say that ever since the 4 years that they have been around and the 4 seasons that they have had a part of the Vegas Golden Knights history, this is a reasonable done jersey. But I would say the one issue that I've had with it, and the one problem that it still presents, is that it's not the original jersey. The original gray jerseys are iconic in Vegas Golden Knights history. And when it comes to those original, or as I call them, the OG home jerseys, that is really what made the Vegas Golden Knights what they were. It was part of the Vegas Golden Knights franchise history, and it really was a basis on what the Vegas Golden Knights had created. So swapping out that original home jersey into this. Now, in terms of style, I would say that it does fit with the Vegas Golden Knights because, once again, the name is called the Golden Knights. So, having a golden, mostly stylish jersey, I do understand the appeal there. But what I would say about this is that since they won the Stanley Cup 2 years ago, and the fact that the Vegas Golden Knights have been in a situation where the Vegas Golden Knights won the cup and these jerseys are going to be on that Stanley Cup championship forever. These are going to stay until that Stanley Cup championship begins to fade a little bit more. Now, hopefully, since this is Vegas Hockey Hub, let's hope that doesn't happen. Let's hope that next year the Vegas Golden Knights find a way to win another championship and can continue to add hardware to Vegas. But when it comes to these current home jerseys, they are going to stay for the foreseeable future because of the fact that these were the jerseys worn when they won the Stanley Cups. There's going to be history that's going to be with these jerseys. And I would say that this would be a B minus or a B level jersey. I don't have any complaints with it. It does, like I said, fit the overall image of it being a golden team. It's just the only problem I've ever had with it is that it's not like the original home jersey that the Vegas Golden Knights had. And in a funny way, when you really think about it, the last 3 seasons, the Vegas Golden Knights essentially did a swap where the original home jerseys and the original alternate jerseys essentially swap places. So now this is the current home jersey, and we have the current alternate, which was the original home jerseys. In fact, we do see them about 6 or 7 times a year, the original home jerseys, which are now the alternates. So this is at number 4. And like I said, B minus, B level jersey. I do like some parts of it. In fact, I actually think the pants do relatively well. If you see here, the pants, and then you got the gold and the red trim as well. So, yeah, this is overall, I like the overall image of it. It's just not the best home jersey the Vegas Golden Knights have had, and we'll get to that one in just a second. And speaking of the fact that I said that I was going to talk about the OG original home jerseys in just a second, here we are. So at number 3, I'm talking about these jerseys here, and I'm bringing back that 2018 Stanley Cup Final as my reference there. And these jerseys, now I have a couple of them already in my closet. You know, I got Riley Smith, Brady McNabb. You know, I have the original home jersey that you got when you were a season ticket holder on year 1 that the team gave you, which was so thankful. But when it came to this original jersey, what makes it stand out is not just the secondary logo that is on the shoulders, but it's also the fact that this is a jersey that blended in well with the logo and the crest that is on the chest there. Overall, I liked the numbers. In fact, the numbers with the gold trim and then the gold outline. Then you also have the white with, you know, the actual nice lettering and everything. And then you have, you know, the gold with the red, you know, kind of underneath it on the little bit on the shoulder there. I'm also going to say that when it came to the black pants and everything there, this was just a jersey that really introduced the NHL to the Vegas Golden Knights. It was properly done. And overall, when it came to these jerseys, which, you know, like I mentioned, are now the alternate jerseys and are worn a couple of times per season, these are always going to have fond memories, especially that first season and the debut of the Vegas Golden Knights. That is going to be remembered by Golden Knights fans forever. And the NHL, when most people sit and look at the Vegas Golden Knights and they talk about the expansion and how unfair it was, these jerseys are going to be the thing that a lot of people remember. And it's actually kind of interesting how, if you speak to non-Vegas Golden Knights fans, this is actually the jersey that a lot of them bring up as the Vegas Golden Knights, as compared to, like I said, the current home jerseys, which, over the last 3 years has kind of, taken a world on its own. This original jersey, because of the fact that they spent nearly 5 seasons wearing these uniforms as their style, it's still a part of the NHL, and it's something that the NHL is going to definitely talk about when it comes to the franchise history. Now, I'm not going to go so far. There's been certain fans who've been talking about how they should bring this back as the full-time home jersey. I am content with keeping it as an alternate. The gold jerseys, like I said, with them winning a Stanley Cup in those gold jerseys, I don't think that a petition is going to change the uniforms or bring it back at any time soon. But I would say this is A- jersey. This is just, really well done. I like the design of it ever since it was introduced and ever since it was unveiled to the Vegas Golden Knights and to Vegas itself. And, it's just going to be part of Vegas Golden Knights history forever and everything that they have. Now, I have this at number 3. And me having this at number 3 kind of gives away what the number 2 and number 1 is. So before we get into that top 2, I just want to very quickly recap what our jersey ranking is. Now, at number 6, I have the 2024 Winter Classic jerseys, from earlier in this, season. And, this was the 2024 Winter Classic jerseys. They wore it just for that, and then they wore it about 1 or 2 times later that year. Don't be shocked if this never comes back, when it comes to Vegas Golden Knights. Yeah, this is a D jersey. That was kind of my grade there. Now, the 2021 Outdoor Game is at number 5, and this was a C jersey. I like the alternate logo and everything that was part of it. And, if it came back as a one-off every once in a while as a secondary alternate, I would not complain there. At number 4, we have our current home jerseys, which at one point was our alternate jerseys a long time ago. These are the jerseys, Vegas Golden Knights won a Stanley Cup in. And this is, a B- B style jersey. Some good things about it. But just when it compared to the 2 original jerseys, the home and the away jerseys, it just doesn't really compare in terms of that. And then at number 3 is the original home jerseys, and this is like my A- when it comes to jerseys. This is the thing that really kicked off the Vegas Golden Knights franchise history, really established, helping bring Vegas into the NHL. So there's always going to be kind of a soft spot there. So those are at number 3. Now let's get into the number 2. And at number 2, we have the best jersey when it comes to the current ones the Vegas Golden Knights are using, and that has been their away jerseys. Ever since these really got introduced, and I was talking a lot about the home jerseys and how they have really helped establish the Vegas Golden Knights. But these away jerseys, in terms of design, in terms of logos, in terms of, the way the jersey looks, I've always said for the longest time that hockey jerseys, especially away jerseys, tend to look a lot better. I don't know if it's just because I admire, how certain logos look on a white jersey compared to, a color, a red, a blue, a black, green. But these away jerseys have always looked very clean, very fresh, has what these jerseys look like in Vegas Golden Knights history. And over the last, 8 seasons, the Vegas Golden Knights, this is just, one of the best jerseys the Vegas Golden Knights have. And if it wasn't for, what's now very obvious what my number 1 is going to be, would be the number 1 pick. Just over the 8 seasons the Vegas Golden Knights have been around, this has been a very solid, standard jersey, and I would be very shocked, very surprised if the Vegas Golden Knights ever went away from this away jersey, because it is the best jersey out of their home, away, and the alternate. I mean, this is an A level jersey for the Vegas Golden Knights. When it comes to the design of it and the fact that the pants blend in, then of course you have with the socks, by the way, that also blends in very well with the white jersey that you're seeing there. But yeah, like I mentioned a little bit ago, I don't know if it's just because there's so many away jerseys in the NHL that look so good compared to their home jerseys. I would say there's probably about 10 teams in the NHL where their away jerseys actually look better as a design than the home jerseys. But once again, I just think that just when you have a white background behind the logo, it just makes it pop, makes it look so much better as a jersey. So yeah, at number 2, this would be the current away jersey, the away jersey that has been with the Vegas Golden Knights forever as a franchise, and this has just been done so well. And I will say, by the way, this picture that I kind of pulled is funny in hindsight. Not to put any salt in the wound here, but Chandler Stevenson, he ain't here no more. Carrier, he ain't here no more. Marchessault, not here anymore. Paul Cotter, not here anymore. Yeah, so this photo is kind of interesting now that I'm looking at it kind of deeply. But yeah, so at number 2, when it comes to our jersey ranking, is the away jersey they've had for the 8 seasons of the Vegas Golden Knights. And yeah, very well done. Like I said, this is an A level jersey. I've always liked the design of it. And at number 1, and as somebody who has been doing this channel for the past 2 years, this really should not be any shock to anyone. I have mentioned on I don't know how many videos how much I love the glow in the dark concept. I think that has been one of the best jersey concepts the Vegas Golden Knights have had. And this has been a favorite of mine ever since it got debuted. I have a glow in the dark jersey. I got it pretty much on day 1 from the moment it was announced. This has just been so much of a fun jersey, one of the best jerseys that I will say when it comes to the NHL. About a year ago, I did my 10 favorite jerseys of all time, and this was on that list because it just fits Vegas so well. Like when you think of the city of Las Vegas, you think of the shining lights, you think of the strip. There's so much concepts that could have been done, and this really spotlights Vegas. I mean, glow in the dark jerseys. You have the Vegas crest, right there in the middle with the Vegas going all the way down, from left to right. That's a very solid logo there. And then with the lettering that you see, just so masterfully done. And then when it comes to the fact that it's mostly a black jersey with red and then gold, kind of similar in a way to other jerseys, but the glow in the dark really puts it on top there. So you had an alternate logo, you have a crest that's different, you have the jersey lettering, which is different, and then just the concept as a whole, the helmets and everything. I also say the pants do also have a bit of a difference there. You see a little bit more style on the pants. The socks were different as well. But yeah, this was just by far the best jersey that the Vegas Golden Knights had. Like when it came to this ranking, I already knew what number 1 was going to be. And for anybody who's been watching this content for a long time, I mean, over 500 episodes we have done since 2022. And yeah, this was just by far number 1. Now, I am going to say, I'm going to be biased. I would like for Vegas to bring this back as a one-off, maybe every once a year, have this be a jersey with the Vegas Golden Knights. But yeah, when this was unveiled and when this was part of the Golden Knights, in that reverse retro 2.0, it just represents the city so well. I mean, it really spotlights what the image of Las Vegas is. I mean, from an outsider's perspective, from an insider's perspective, I also will say that when it comes to on the ice, they looked so well done when it came to that reverse retro 2.0. And what was really fascinating is that I was mentioning with the reverse retro 1.0 how I would say about half of those have been forgotten because there really wasn't many fans in attendance. Fast forward to the reverse retro 2.0, and when this was done in 2022, fans were in attendance. And when you saw fans with these reverse retros on, and when you're walking around the strip and you still see some reverse retros being worn. I mean, I've seen some Jack Eichels. I've seen some Mark Stone jerseys that have the reverse retro part of it. Yeah, this is just so well done. And I could talk about how amazing these jerseys are and everything, but I got about 4 minutes left here on this video. So I'm going to go through the ranking one more time before we get to the end of the show. So when it comes to the jersey ranking here, at number 6 was the 2024 Winter Classic jerseys they had against the Seattle Kraken. I gave it a D. You know, it was just not really a well done jersey in terms of franchise history. It just kind of stands out as an outlier for the Vegas Golden Knights. At number 5 is the 2021 outdoor game they had against Colorado Avalanche. The red jerseys with the alternate logo as the crest in the middle. I gave it a C. This is something that wasn't bad as a reverse retro, but it's just not something that compared to the other 4 on that level. So, like I said, number 6 was the Winter Classic. Number 5 was the outdoor game. At number 4, you had the current home jerseys. And, this is just something that, helped them as a unit. And as a current style jersey, it is a B minus, kind of jersey with the Vegas Golden Knights. At number 3 is the OG, original home jerseys in franchise history. I gave this one an A minus. I mean, it's a well done jersey, going to be part of their franchise history forever. At number 2, an A jersey, and that is their current away jerseys. Like I mentioned, having the logo on the white background really lets the logo shine, kind of gives it more of a pop in terms of, making it kind of stand out as a jersey. And I've said, before, when it comes to the NHL, there's plenty of teams that have that same kind of situation where their away jerseys, their logo kind of stands out more instead of it, being on a, black jersey or a red jersey or a green jersey, kind of makes it stand out more. But the number 1, and this was so obvious for anybody who has been watching this channel for the last 2 years, and that is the glow in the dark jersey, the reverse retro 2.0. And I'm going to pass it to you, and I'm going to say, what jersey ranking do you have? When it comes to these 6 jerseys, do you place them in the same order as I do? Do you change it around? Is there anything that you agree or disagree on? Let me know. Go onto our social medias at Vegas Hockey Hub. We are on all major platforms: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. I mean, there is so many platforms that we are putting this show on. So I would say for Vegas Hockey Hub, this has been a lot of fun doing shows like this. And I'm also going to say, when it comes to the Winter Classic, that situation was a lot of fun doing that live. With the upcoming season, I'm going to try to upload more often, go to more practices, go to more games. Obviously, if the schedule lines up correctly. But yeah, this is going to be a fun season. I'm so looking forward to it. It is the end of August. I'm going to be getting in September in just a little bit. And I'm looking forward to so much content I'm going to be giving you here on Vegas Hockey Hub. So until next time, I'm your host, Ian Rachiele. Follow me on social media at Ian J. Rachiele. And this has been ranking jerseys for the Vegas Golden Knights. And I'm looking forward to doing all this and talking more about all this stuff here with you guys. And until next time, go Knights go, and have a good one.
PR Connections Radio thanks you for watching this podcast. Check out more episodes of this show and our others at prconnectionsradio.com.